On this episode, we explore Death Valley Part 2. So at the beginning of day 5, we headed out of Warm Springs Campground back through Saline Valley to Lone Pine, California to resupply. And got back on the road, back into Death Valley, and now we're heading towards the Nevada border on Daylight Pass Road. We found a trail since it was getting towards the end of the day that came off of Daylight Pass Road. And this actually heads towards an old ghost town called Chloride City. It's my understanding there's not a lot left there, but there are some videos on that you can check out in YouTube if you have further interest. But it is something I'd like to go out and check out someday. We just didn't have time on this trip and had other priorities. So at this point we're just, it's getting kind of late in the day and we're looking for a place to camp for the night. And we ended up finally finding a place on the left here that we pulled into. It looked good. Nice and flat and fairly level, and weather was nice, but you'll soon see what we encountered in the evening hours. Well, this shows you what it's like on a windy night in Death Valley. So after a wonderful night of no sleep at all, we began day 6 with the intention of heading towards Nevada and the ghost town of Rhyolite. And near that ghost town is also the beginning of the trail for Titus Canyon. And so that was our destination at this point, and here we are heading out of the campsite back towards Daylight Pass Road. We're still in California, and at this point we're going to make a right-hand turn on Daylight Pass Road and start heading towards Nevada. So Titus Canyon Trail starts just down the road from Rhyolite on the Nevada side and goes one direction only towards Death Valley in California. It takes several hours to drive this road, but it's another very easy road. Any two-wheel drive vehicle can make it. You do not need it to be lifted. You do not need four-wheel drive. Any standard vehicle can drive this road. But what's so cool about it is it starts out fairly plain in the desert valley floor, but as you gain elevation, it really becomes eye candy for overlanders. It's just every turn is something different, and I think you'll enjoy the video ahead that shows you some of the highlights.
'cause your love is strong for him. Why would it not be? He's always there for you. I keep living alone, way so far from home. Free, but ready to flee from this all. Hard to be standing on your own. Hard to be standing on your own. You knocked me down, swept my feet off the ground, left me on the floor. Hard to resist, got me looking like this, like no one before. 'Cause I must be strong, 'cause this might go on for long. Guess I was wrong, and he's always there for you. I keep living alone, way so far from home. Free, but ready to flee from this all. Hard to be standing on your own. Hard to be standing on your own. Left on the floor, looking up, wanting more. This is so unreal. Out of my mind, how could I be so blind? How could I not see? I must have been wrong.
So about 2/3 of the way through Titus Canyon, there's a pullover spot where there's a sign that indicates there's petroglyphs at this location, and where you see my Jeep in the next photograph, you'll see that the rock where those petroglyphs are located are immediately to the right side of my Jeep, or the passenger side of my Jeep. And I always thought these things were fascinating, to think of the Native Americans who, you know, placed these images on these rocks either hundreds or thousands of years ago, and what they were doing here in Death Valley, hunting for either deer or antelope. Pretty amazing to see the different images they scrawled on the rocks. And here's just one example. You can kind of make it out here. There's a deer in the lower left corner here, or an antelope, and just a really cool thing to see. I love finding petroglyphs wherever I go. And then we're back on the trail again. Now we got about 1/3 of the way to go, and hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of this section of the video. So at the end of day 5 and at the beginning of day 6, we were camped at the Onyx Mine site in the central portion of Panamint Valley. This mine site was used to mine the stone known as onyx, which is a jewelry type stone, and that is exactly what they were mining it for, was to create jewelry items, and they would have people come from all areas to buy their jewelry as well as camp at this site. From there we started up Goler Canyon, and this kind of shows you the beginning of the trail at the entrance point into the canyon. It is not really a difficult trail at all. I think pretty much any vehicle can do it. My brother had a stock Toyota Forerunner, not lifted, stock tires, and he made it just fine. And as many people know, this Goler Canyon leads up to Barker Ranch, where Manson was hiding out and was discovered, I believe, in the early 70s. But it's a really neat canyon. I think it's one of my top 3 in Death Valley for sure, and it's one definitely most vehicles can get up there to see the Barker Ranch, to get up to the top of the canyon. Where I wouldn't want to go is too far beyond that with a stock vehicle. You do start to pass there, you get into Mengle Pass, and that's the road that leads you to the geologist's cabin. That portion of that road is fairly technical with large boulders and cobbles, and you probably wouldn't want to go with a stock vehicle through that section, although I'm sure it's been done. So here we're just heading up the canyon and looking forward to seeing what's ahead. So we continued up the canyon. The trail was continuing to be very easy drive. We were making pretty good time. One of the neat things along this canyon is there's several mines you can stop and check out. We chose to get out and take a look at one of those. The mine shaft that was in the side of the hill here actually had a cable that extended all the way to the ridgeline on the other side of the canyon for some reason. And then we got here and discovered water on the trail all of a sudden, and came across something that was not expected at this point in time, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
I can't see him right now, just a hair, little bit of him, so you're so lucky.
So my brother could obviously not see what I was seeing as I was in the lead vehicle, but these 2 rams, these bighorn sheep, were literally drinking water for a good 5 to 7 minutes while we sat here. I even moved my vehicle up at one point to see if they would move out of the way, and they did not budge an inch. It was a really cool experience to see these bighorn sheep up so close. Here I am moving up the vehicle, and the biggest ram there didn't even flinch. At one point they decided to move off to the left, and then shortly after that they decided to come back across the road to the right. But a really cool experience, and one we'll never forget. So Barker Ranch was started in the 1940s, and it was in about 1968 when Manson learned about the property as a potential hideout, and I believe he was captured there in early 1969. There's not much left. A lot of the ranch burned down years ago, but there are some foundations. There is the guest, it's my understanding the guest house is still there standing. That's the structure you see there. And you can walk into that and check it out. There is a sign-in book inside there you can sign. And then the pool, apparently there is a pool on the property. Apparently it was about 5,000 gallon pool, swimming pool. So it's kind of cool to walk around and check out the property. It obviously attracts a lot of people for the history with Charles Manson, but just in general, it's a cool old property to check out and take a look around. So after checking out Barker Ranch and having lunch up near Mengo Pass, we came back down the canyon, and once again we're on our way out to Panamint Valley from here.
널 볼 때면 내 숨이 가빠져 방심한 사이 내 맘을 훔친 너 회색 빛에 내 하루가 점점 너만의 태도로 날 물들여가 You set my world on fire 내 세상에 번져 널 사랑하고 내 품에 안겨 함께 늙어가는 나고 싶어 네 맘도 나와 항상 같은 맘
Death Valley burrows. Checking us out. Just trucking across the desert here. And we got another two over here checking us out as we drive by. We're on the road right here. So we got these two and these three. So I hope you guys enjoyed part 2 of this overlanding through Death Valley. There will be a part 3 that will cover the Naidu Trail on the Panamint Valley side of Death Valley, and as well as a quick run out to the Alabama Hills and an area called Pine Creek, which is absolutely gorgeous in the Eastern Sierras. So please like and subscribe, and hope to see you guys on the trail someday.